Welcome back to Steele and Vance. This one is one of those stories, Linda, that as a mom, I can't justify the process that allows a pedophile to be released or find his way out of a halfway house. Never mind be out of jail. How does he get to a halfway house? This Randall Hopley thing is...
You remember the story. So Randall Hopley back in 2011 abducted a 3-year-old from his home in Sparwood. He ended up going to jail for 6 years, and then he's been in a halfway house in Vancouver. And this is, I think he's been convicted of 3 child sexual assaults.
His first was when he was 15 years old. This is a prolific,
pedophile,
violent, targeting children, pedophile, offender, sexual, it's just, we all remember this story so vividly because it literally is the embodiment of the parent's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Sleeping quietly to wake up in the morning to not be able to find your 3-year-old.
This is a new photo that the VPD has just put out, and they are trying to find him. There's a Canada-wide warrant. He's been missing for 6 days, and we ended up talking to victims' rights advocate, Dave Teixeira.
Yeah.
And we thought we got to reach out to him because he was very vocal in the Schoenborn case.
He represents that family, the Schoenborn case, another horrific case that seems to sort of put the perpetrator first ahead of the victim, ahead of the victim's family. It's just...
This is what Dave has to say about it.
So we're again talking about a child abuser or killer being given privileges and then abusing those privileges. Whether it's Paul Bernardo, Alan Schoenborn, Gabriel Klein, Blair Donnelly, the man who killed his daughter in 2006, stabbed a man in 2009, and then in September stabbed 3 people in Vancouver's Chinatown while out on a pass. And now this week, multiple child abuser Randall Hopley walked away from a halfway house, cut off his ankle monitor, and disappeared. What do all these cases, and specifically Randall Hopley, have in common? Well, at least 3 things. 1, doctors and other professionals wanted these high-risk individuals to remain in custody and not have access to the community. Number 2, judges or the BC Review Board ignored these professionals and put these high-risk offenders into lower monitored facilities or directly back into the community. And number 3, when a major incident occurred, the victims or the families of the victims of these child killers or abusers were not notified, even though there was a commitment, if not an obligation, on the courts to make this notification. It's important to acknowledge that not all offenders are high risk, but those deemed to be high risk should not be permitted outside of an institution, be it a jail or a hospital, so their actions, health, and well-being can be monitored and properly and positively influenced. Randall Hopley should never have been given the freedom to re-enter our community after abusing at least 4 children, but he was, and now no one knows where he is. Until all levels of government and our judiciary agree that public safety is the paramount concern, offenders require support and care to earn privileges, and that we need to deal in facts and not ideology that says everyone deserves near unfettered freedom, we will again be talking about child killers disappearing, and worse, reoffending.
Well said, Dave Teixeira, because it is just beyond.
You know what I think is, I think that unfortunately there are certain kinds of offenders that really there is no other option but to keep them behind bars probably for the rest of their lives. And I know you say, but wait a minute, what about their rights? And it's about rehabilitation. Some people can't be rehabilitated, and some people, frankly, don't care about the rest of our rights. And we all, as society, as the public, we have a right to be safe and to make sure our children are not, victims of pedophiles.
I can't stop thinking about his victims and
Yeah.
how they must feel right now. Just cannot even. And it's not just the child here. It's the child, it's the parents, it's the siblings, it's the extended family, it's the friends, it's the feeling of being, as you said, Linda, unsafe.
Right.
We have a right to feel safe, and right now, that is not happening. And that's a problem that needs to be, the square needs to be because as Dave said, all levels of experts said this man should not be released.
Right.
He is a risk to reoffend. Do not. And 3 people, only one of the 3 people who made the call to move him to a halfway house, only one had to say no.
If the police have to put out a release calling him a high-risk child sex offender, the words high risk, no, you're staying in some sort of a facility where you can be monitored. And if you're in a halfway house, you're not able to just cut off your ankle bracelet and tootle off on your own, and God knows where he is. But there's something wrong with the system. And
there's something wrong with the system that deems somebody like Randall Hopley a high-risk offender and not a dangerous offender. Like, how many kids do you have to abuse before you're a dangerous offender?
Destroys their lives.
It's brutal, Linda. I can't.
All right, we're going to turn it. This is both light and dark coming up, and
true.
super fascinating. He is a judge on the Great Canadian Baking Show, and his surprising story of childhood trauma has made him an advocate for mental health supports. Vancouver's own Bruno Feldeisen joins us next.
And before we go to break, we do have to talk about our viewing party photos. Yes, you were sending them in. Oh my goodness, we got so many. We can only show so many. Deb and Cooper in Campbell River, you made the cut here.
Deb and Ladysmith.
And then we've got Dina, nice toes. I like your view.
And we have Diane. Thank you so much for sending in the photos.
I love these pictures and how they capture our faces.
Yeah,
Send yours in
look insane.
to viewingparty@chekmedia.ca. We're back in a moment on Steel and Vance with Bruno.